I'm Hayden.
I'm Yannick.
And I'm Sam.
And we haven't finished season 3 yet.
Except we have.
No, this is the intro.
This
They
is
don't
not
know
a real
that yet.
episode.
This is a real episode.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We are doing our hot take. If you haven't noticed, there's no guest today because we are your guests and your hosts. And this is the last episode of season 3.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're gonna start off with our hot take. Does anyone have a hot take?
I gotta check my hot take list on my phone.
I think I have something.
Okay.
It's maybe like a rant, but also
Those are all my hot takes. So I think you're good.
okay. Like for people that like love to work in the industry, which is centered around filming, no matter what TV, film, podcast, people don't love taking photos of themselves. Or I feel like there's an air of like if you go to a bar or you go to a party and you see a bunch of girls taking photos of themselves in a corner.
They're not
just,
filmmakers.
no, they could be. They're like there, but they're like at this party or whatever, like that are also industry people. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe this is a specific thing, but
I want to hear it.
but I feel like, I don't know, I tend to go to a lot of events, networking events, parties or whatever because of my job, that like majority of the people there work in the industry. Mm-hmm. I feel like for people that love to be in this, and then there was a bunch of girls that were like at this party that I was at that were like taking a bunch of photos, like with flash. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot, but also I was just like, you know what though? We literally do this for a living. Like there's like an air of arrogance, like and like almost like put down upon on these people that like want to do these things. And then I thought to myself, and like I caught myself kind of being like, all
How
right,
dare they?
no, just being like, I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, go get your photo. But I'm just like, all right, for 5 minutes though, like this is a lot. But I also don't think that they're like harming anyone.
Yeah.
Like it's enough space where they can do their own thing, and then like, you know, like you can leave. You have movement in your body. You can like leave if it's bothering you that much. But it's like, you know, it's not going to last forever. But anyways, it just felt like such an air of like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, arrogance. I feel like it's like, one, it's like, ew, like, why are you taking photos of yourself? Like, why? It's like, this is a lot. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, we all work in the entertainment industry.
That's like kind of what we do.
We literally love taping shit. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like at one point you got into this and found a camera and you're like, oh, I like this. I want to, even if it's not people, it's like landscapes, nature. And like, I just feel like for people that love to do that, it seems really hypocritical for people to be so like, I don't know, dismissive of others that actually want to exercise that.
I have multiple things to say about this.
Oh,
but
okay.
I think you're right initially, with a few like side tangents that I'm gonna bring up. But one thing, I think I started being behind the camera and being into crew because I hated being in front of the camera. And like I have acted for some of my own stuff, and I've been told that I can act pretty decently, but I'm just not comfortable when it comes to being in front of that. And I feel just more myself when I'm behind it. And I notice like I tend to like whenever like I have been trying to do more selfies recently because I've noticed now that I'm away from my family, a selfie is usually just a picture for my mom at this point, just to be like, oh yeah, he's still alive. But I haven't really done them for myself. And I think it is because of that camera relationship of like, I'd rather just be taking a picture of another subject than of myself. But that's just a personal thing, and I do have that bias of thinking that this is like an egotistical thing. But it's not necessarily the case.
Right. Like the fact that it's like, yeah, like I get it. Like I don't feel the most comfortable in front of a camera all the time either. But like, I just feel like it almost feels just hypocritical though, of like the general consensus being more like, ugh, this seems like you're being like vain or like whatever. Like, why do you need to photograph everything? Like, there's this push and pull of like over consumption of media and like being like like you can't. I think it stems from also like maybe like the 2010s where it was like everyone had a camera out, everyone was doing everything, everyone was trying to put themselves online. But there's also just like people just want to take a photo, like,
Yeah.
and it's like I just think it's just so funny and hypocritical to me that just like because I'm in these settings with these people that also work in entertainment, I'm literally like this just feels like at the core we're all nerdy little people that joined a film club,
Bunch of
theater, like something adjacent to that, like. You all love it anyway, so why are you pretending like you don't? Also, it's like I then think about like birthdays and stuff, and I'm like, I have no photos with my friends. Like I literally have nothing to show for it. But these people do, and I don't. And I'm like, why does it seem so awkward, all these photos that I have with me and my friends, because they're all like posed in front of like a tourist attraction versus like these people have like photos that are candid and fun, like that actually evoke like a night out with your friends.
And it's funny to think about like the creation of photography. Some of the first photos were just self-portraits of people standing in for 10 seconds, standing still, because that's how long it took just to make that photo happen, just so they can then like have that magic of having themselves painted on a picture. And, but that's what people did. They were taking pictures of themselves since the start of the camera.
Yeah. No, I guess, yeah, no. It's just like my rant is just basically like, get over yourselves. You all love the camera. Just like don't yuck someone's yum. Like maybe it's not for you and that's fine. Like that's fine. Like if you don't want the photo of you, that's fine. Either leave or like don't be in it. That's fine. Like if I was taking a photo of like friends, like which part of me is like I'm trying to get back into photography because I really like it, but it's just like people being like, no, it's like, don't you want to know what you looked like when you were 27 or 20 something for like how long? I don't know. Like part of it is memory keeping. And like, I feel like I don't know, like even having younger siblings, my parents didn't really like tape them, like video record them in the way that I feel like I have tapes of myself and my sister, my like the second like oldest sister, because they just were like, nah, like it's like, that's like very of the past, like we don't need to do that. I'm like, why? I want to see that.
I think my mom has a video of the first time I pooped in a toilet.
Isn't that lovely? Now you know.
Now you know how it was.
You probably don't remember it, but like now you can be like, oh, I did that.
Yeah, I think that's what I said in the video. I did that. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, because I was shocked to like see it like that. Yeah.
See, like, isn't that nice? I mean,
It's
we
great.
don't have
It's
to
really
think about it
nice.
as a child, but like just think about it. I don't know, like when you're like in your 70s and you're like, oh, look how youthful and fun I was. No one's gonna fucking remember being like, too cool, like too cool for a
Oh, so awkward for 2 minutes.
So awkward. Oh my god, this flash in this dark party outside where we're smoking. Like, get over yourself. Like, just take the photo and let other people take photos. Like, it'll pass after like 10 minutes. And if it doesn't, even if it doesn't stop after 10 minutes, then I say, fuck them.
And I would say my side tangent to this was my 4-day trek to Machu Picchu. Not bragging at all, but it was pretty freaking cool. But I went to hell and back essentially of like I didn't dress properly. I had sun blisters on my face because I wasn't wearing the right hat. So like I literally came up like a new man.
Not to brag at all.
Not to brag. No. I'm definitely not bragging. But I came up as like a goblin, like forged from hell from this 4-day trek that I did, and finally seeing the end destination, which was Machu Picchu.
It took 4 days to get up there.
It was 4 days. It was like the Salcante Pass. It was a different. You can like take a train and a bus to get up there, and you don't have to do a trek.
Oh my god! After the first sun blister, that is the first thing I put. I would get one blister, and I'd be like, actually,
I didn't even talk about my feet yet, but yeah, it was
Absolutely
just
not.
I was not prepared, but I did it. What grinded my gears was when I got up there, the people that took the train and the bus to get there. I literally had a moment where I had my trekking poles and I went up and I took that deep breath of looking out into the beautiful mountainscape, and I had a guy poke me from behind, and he was like, "Excuse me, sir, you're in my shot." He was like, "Could you please get out of the way?"
You're unsightly.
And I whipped back with my goblin face. I was like, "Oh, Smeagol's in your shot."
Yes,
And
master.
he did jolt back, and like I snapped at him. And I was
my
like,
God.
"I'm gonna be here if I want to be here." And like he was like, "Okay," like I was just trying to take a photo. But that happened.
Zoom in, bitch.
That happened multiple times throughout the day, where like people kept on saying that and it was probably because I had that goblin face and they didn't want to Photoshop me out later. But they kept on pushing me like, "Hey, get out of my shot. Like I want to get this shot." And like, I just couldn't do it. I snapped, and like, yeah, there's a lot of bit of an ego in me of like, I did 4 days of this, and like I deserve to be standing here right now. I pay my taxes, not in Peru, but it was that was difficult for me. So that specific moment, I would say I didn't like people taking photos of themselves, but everything else was fine.
I think it's like, I mean, people are assholes. Don't get me wrong. This is all in the vein of like, they're not being assholes. If they're being assholes, then
Yeah.
Then
then the whole
don't
pivot
be
of
an
like,
asshole.
pivoting, like, it goes both ways. Like the people judging are, I mean, don't be
Also being
assholes.
assholes, good.
But also
Yeah.
if the people are taking the photos in ways that are like harmless and don't like, also don't like, that's fine. But if they're being assholes about it, then fuck it.
Yeah.
Then like, this doesn't apply to them.
Yeah.
It's only specifically for people that are harmless. Like that, like I just think of like, I don't know, like people that want to make TikToks. But like some of them, like some people, yes, are assholes. Again, with the asterisk that these people are not assholes. But it's like I see a bunch of people just off to the side doing their own thing. But then there's like circles of people that are judging them for doing those things, like a TikTok dance or whatever. I'm like, whatever, do your little dance.
Yeah.
Do your little dance. Post it
Especially- yeah.
online. Like, whatever.
Especially in such a big city, like I'm so fine with like if they want to prop their phone up and do their thing, it's like
Yeah.
as long as like I can get to where I want to be.
Yeah,
And I'm fine with
exactly.
waiting for a second.
You know,
Yeah.
even if they are annoying and in the wrong, there's much bigger things to be annoyed about.
Yeah, that
And
over
you're just
too.
wasting your time.
Right. It's like, it's just a photo, you nerds. You love photos too.
Yeah.
Like, that's why you're in
Nerds.
this industry. Get over yourself. That's really, I think, what it was. It was just like get over it. Like, it's a fucking photo.
You should start getting up in people's faces about it.
No, I'm so uncomfortable.
Phone police. You know that guy on TikTok who like does the shopping cart police?
Oh,
In parking
no.
lots. Have you seen that guy?
Oh, where people like leave their cards.
People leave their cart and this guy will like come up to them and start like a whole thing, like trying to get them to put the cart back because they're taking up like a parking spot
Yeah,
with their
yeah.
cart. It's pretty good.
That's funny. There's another woman that's in like Italy because there's so many like pickpockets. Like she'll literally start screaming. Like in Italy, like pickpocket. Like I was like, and like and you
Definitely
walk,
not an Italian accent.
well, she says it in English, but like she's just like walking around, like she'll see them catch these people, and like she'll start literally pointing and screaming at the pickpocket, and then they get scared off and then run
Nice.
away. It's incredible,
Hero.
and it's like this older, like middle-aged woman. Just going, pickpocket.
She can spot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to send you guys. I love
I
her.
want to see that. She's
Hot take.
I don't really have anything. I'm trying to formulate it into something.
I could do mine.
Oh, I thought. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do yours,
I
please.
just I was talking about the Peru thing, but mine was so I got the opportunity to go to the alien
Romulus?
Romulus.
Alien
Roma?
Roma.
That's another movie coming out, Roma. But the Alien Romulus premiere, and it was at the Chinese theater, and I was like, oh, this is really cool that I get to witness this premiere. And sadly, I'm going to talk about influencers in this, but like
No, this is great. This is the other side of the
I'm
argument.
not a defender of influencers,
No.
by the way. I just don't think me.
I sadly like my experience was deeply affected by the people who were at the premiere that were just so rude and so like greedy and gluttonous and it's just expected so much from themselves. Where I expected like here's a place where it's a pretty solid movie, big franchise, and I was really excited to see it. I was happy that I was going to the premiere, and when I get in, they hand out the little face hugger things that you can just get for free. People are already asking like, "Oh, can I have like 4 or 5 of these?" Like, and
What?
literally like you're getting this thing for free. That's the first thing that you get is like they just hand you a face hugger. And like multiple times I saw people being like, I just like, I can get 3. And it's like you can
What?
do that exactly. Like we're getting these for free, people. Like you get 1 per ticket. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then comes the alcohol, like the open bar,
Oh, God.
where people are just grabbing drink after drink, and the bartenders are just bringing them out there nonstop so they can have a flow. And people are just grabbing like 2 as they're waiting in line, and it just felt very like that scene and Spirited Away when the parents are turning into pigs because they're just like oh my God, this food is so good. It just felt very much like that. Then so we go in line to the premiere, and the line is just so long. It's like, why is this taking so long? There's not that many people. Come to find out that at the end of the line is like kind of red carpet photo, and some of these people are spending like literally 5 minutes for 2 people to get multiple shots of them on the red carpet of this premiere, but everybody else is in line, can't get into the movie theater until, which is fine. Like I understand, like, yeah, I get the red carpet photo, but like don't spend 5 minutes well everybody's waiting to get in just to get your multiple angles. And then we get in the movie theater, movie starts, we get like a little introduction from the director. That's cool. Clap, clap, clap. Movie happens, and there's multiple people on their phones, like scrolling through like volume up TikToks. People are
Just
on
doom
their phones,
scrolling in
just
the
doom
premiere.
scrolling as one of the movies of the year is happening. This is at least for me, this was a pretty big movie. And there was flash photography happening inside. It was just like, what is this happening? Like you don't get this at like a matinee showing with a whole bunch of kids. Like there has been more respectful, rude
iPad
theaters
children
that
are
I've
more
had.
respectful.
Exactly. It was just so crazy how, and it was all this energy of like you need to fight for my attention of this like I'm so good that if you want my attention, I need that 5 face huggers, and I need that 20 beers, and I need that like I'm literally scrolling on my phone watching the movie so the movie can compel me enough to actually give a second to watch it. So like it really, I mean, and I would go to another premiere, but it really took my whole perspective of this whole gratifying, like going to the Chinese theater, like that's the biggest like theater in Hollywood, to like go see like a cool movie, and like all these things happen and be like, what is this? What are we all doing? What are we doing?
Sounds like those people are assholes that don't.
Exactly, assholes.
That seems like that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not even like, well, I guess a lot of influencers, I guess, exhibit this, but that's just like common decency.
I
That's a
know.
common decency thing.
You just turn off your. They tell you before the movie to just turn off your phone. Like
There's like 3 ads,
I know they
weird animations,
and to get a Coke.
I will
The Coke
say
is
the
for
line
free.
though, the line, and also to get into the theater thing, that's totally on operations. They
That's-
should have
yeah.
found a way to split those people.
Yeah.
Like take your photos, one side,
Yeah.
get in the theater, other side.
Mhm. And they had to hold the movie because the line was so long.
My
like
God.
it was like
Whoa.
a 30-minute wait to start the movie because people couldn't get in because everyone was. Yeah, that is an operations side.
Yeah.
But people are assholes. Don't be on your phone. Like, don't volume up TikTok. I would hate that.
Yeah.
I would be so. I would be an asshole.
I'd get mad if a kid was doing that at a matinee, like I was
Yeah.
saying. But it's like crazy that like in the premiere, like the biggest, the kind of
With the director.
with the
there.
director there, some of the
Yeah.
actors there, Ridley Scott was there, and it's like what's
damn it.
happening?
That sounds awesome. I wanna
Did
see
you
Ridley
have a?
Scott.
Did you like the movie at least?
I like the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, the movie was fun.
That's good.
And I do have my little face hugger that
Good.
we've been kind of hiding around our house.
Is that
Yeah,
like a
it's-
game? The
we've
three
been
of you
trying
guys
to
are literally
find-
like, all right, I hit the
Pretty
face
much.
hugger today. First one to find it gets a treat.
I've been trying to rig it into places where when you
All the
open
legs
door,
are like bendable, so you can like
Oh,
rig
that's
it
cool.
really nicely. You can put it up there.
plops.
If we ever have a Halloween episode,
You can have it
Oh
slowly
yeah, we
lower.
can. Honestly, we should. We have
Yeah,
a
we got the
xenomorph in the
hand.
back, so we should have the Mr. Face Hugger in the side.
maybe when you come back. That's
Yeah.
for season 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Come back for the face hugger.
we just slowly build up more stuff.
You know what your hot take kind of reminded me of this interesting thing where we're kind of like the last age group that picked up a camera and was like, hey, this could be a cool career thing, or I like doing this. Now everybody has like a basic understanding of angles and lenses, I think, to maybe a small degree, but like there's no longer that like, oh, you either know a camera or you don't know a camera at all. Like now everybody knows the basics of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of
At least
Are you not
knowing-
into that?
I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know. I just think it's kind of fun to be the last generation of we picked up a camera and had to like
Like
learn
an
it.
analog
Yeah,
view
like-
of it.
Yeah, like had to, you know, there was no phones, you know, so like having a camera around was something you had to put effort into versus now there just is a camera available always. Everyone is taking a photo. That, you know, like the 10 years, the people that are born that are 10 years younger than us, they were around when there was a camera always available 24/7. I remember when I was first like doing camera stuff, that was not the case.
Yeah, and the cameras on our phones were like you could barely see
And they
what
were-
was going on.
Right. I guess there was like flip phone cameras, but it's like, yeah, it's like unless
It's not even
you
worth
just-
trying to. I remember to go flicking
So
through
bad.
those.
But I do
sometimes.
remember like when the iPhone came onto the scene. Like that is crazy to think of that like
yeah.
yeah, like we existed in a time before iPhones. But like yeah, no, that makes sense cuz I my siblings that are like way younger than me when they were like 6, they were literally like, "Can you record us like doing a tutorial on this toy that we just got?" I was like, "What? You want me to like that's how we want you to play with us is like here's go get your phone."
yeah.
And record us like making this like craft.
Yeah.
And can you edit it for us? And I was like,
Yeah, like, and that's another
Yeah.
thing. Everyone kind of knows how to edit, like on
Yeah,
a
they know the
basic level now,
concept.
Yeah.
because of TikTok, like on those all those apps. That's crazy to me.
yeah, I agree. Like when they're so young.
I had to like upgrade a computer, download like Final Cut or whatever, and like spend like hours not knowing what's going on, and like it was really hard to learn.
But that was like in college for me. Like I didn't really like I was iMovie before that, but like all of that didn't happen until college.
Yeah, but like now it's so intuitive, you know, they've improved like how to, it's just more intuitive and better, you know, so now people just are able to figure out much quicker themselves. And I feel like it's probably going to just raise the standard overall of like movies in general, because everybody, you know, knows like the like marveling of like, oh, how is this edited has just been raised by a huge gap just because it's so common.
And even if you don't know how a camera works, you do know what a good composition looks like, because
Yeah.
the phone is just going to give you what like a ideal lighting situation
Yeah.
is. So like you do have that innate understanding of like this is what it is to be good.
Yeah,
This is
and
what
the
it is to look
automatic blurring in the background, you know, that's something you have to on all manual settings. You kind of have to know how to create that, and on the you know, anybody can take that now pretty easily, which is cool.
That is
more
cool.
more better
Yeah.
photos.
Do you guys ever see those TikToks of like these girls that like will take photos and be like, this is my mom taking the photo, and it's like bad. It's like versus like her friends taking a photo and it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, pretty good. But then then it's like always like a younger brother or younger sister that it's like, and here's the photo from my 8-year-old brother and sister, and it's like editorial. That looks so good.
It's so good.
I love those TikToks. I'm like, yeah, man, they know. So the minute they came out into the world, they were like, where's that iPad? Where's that camera?
Locked in.
Yeah. I was like, my brother like is obsessed with mukbang videos. I'm like, he's just like, how do I got my sister a microphone for like
For a mukbang.
or like for like ASMR videos because she loves ASMR videos. So she's like, but like I didn't get her like I got her candy, but like I got her tech equipment. She was like, I want a microphone. So I got her like a kiddie version of like a microphone and
That's
stuff
pretty
like
awesome.
that. But isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like when you're like 7 asking for that, like 8, being like,
Yeah.
I'd like a microphone so I can make a video.
I can produce.
Yeah. I'm like, okay,
I can be.
sure.
My hot take is on topic with the Alien theme, and it's very niche, but I think Alien Resurrection is a very good movie.
Okay.
A very good sequel, I will say. Sam, have you seen it? We watched it
We
together
watched it.
recently. But yeah, just kind of talking to the void here to myself, I guess. But
Give a little, just a tiny synopsis. Of
yeah,
the-
so it's, the first 2 Alien movies, Alien and Aliens, are widely regarded as very good. Then there's the third one, which is kind of all over the place. And then the fourth one, which is just an absolute cartoon of a movie. Like it's
and the fourth one's Resurrection.
Resurrection, and it's just goofy and weird. And there's like, it feels like you're watching a superhero cartoon mixed with like a comic book, and like it's really weird and all over the place. But it has this like really refreshing angle of, we just tried some new shit. Like we didn't try to reskin the last one. We just threw some random shit against the wall. And that's what I want from a sequel, especially a 4th sequel to something. I don't want them to recapture like the magic of the first 2. It's impossible. And even if it is, then it's just another one of the first 2. I want some crazy stuff to happen. And boy, some crazy stuff happens. Like the pinnacle of that being kind of the final creature, which is, spoilers, a mix between an alien and a human. And it's this like really weird dynamic between Ripley, the main character, being like the mother of this like abomination. And it's like,
Wait, so she fucked an alien?
long story short, I guess, kind of
Was
like
she-
it's her DNA, but like DNA was mixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how did that happen?
So like they bring her, she dies, and they bring her back, and
They use like alien DNA to bring her back.
yeah.
Oh,
And
so
like,
she becomes half alien.
so
half
she has,
human.
when she dies, she has, I think, an egg of the queen in her. And so they want to bring the alien back, which was killed with her. So they take her, resurrect her to then get also the alien from her DNA. And so now she exists as this like hybrid with the mixed DNA. And then the queen also exists. But the queen, they have like tinkered with so that she can give live birth versus eggs. And that's
This sounds like gay rights. That sounds like they were like queens helping queens, women supporting women.
yeah, there's all the alien movies have kind of like some
They
like,
do, yeah.
queer and like sexual angles to it that's very interesting. But
I love
but
that.
then we get this like weird abomination baby thing, and honestly the final scene of it is, I think, cooler and more absurd and more fun than the final of the first one. The first movie is like one of my favorite movies ever, but really weird and zany. And out of that weird choice of this like arguably kind of bad movie, we got like the direction of all the other movies, alien movies after that, which is mixing the alien, which is awesome and cool and weird, but we've just seen it for 4 movies, so the shock value is a little gone. We get the mixing of that and human DNA, and that kind of pretty much definitely fueled Prometheus. That's like all Prometheus is. Covenant, I don't even remember that movie, but the new one definitely had that, and the final scene was like exactly that kind of a thing. And out of that weird choice came like a whole new cool thing for the series. And as like a superhero hater, it just feels like it's always the same. And to get any sort of new invention, we need to suffer through like 10 movies. I just thought it was kind of what a sequel should do.
Yeah, they tried new things.
They tried new things, and it mostly didn't work, but it's fun. It's a fun movie. There's fun, weird characters that are kind of cartoony, but it's a good time.
No, it's a good one.
Love that.
Yeah, it's really niche, passionate opinion.
We love Alien. We're an Alien household.
All right.
Intro.
Oh yeah, we're doing intro. Intro.
Intro.
All right. Well, I'm Sam.
I'm Hayden.
I'm Yannick. And we
And-
don't have last names.
I used to say
sometimes-
my last name.
Well, we sometimes do. We sometimes don't.
Well, today we don't
We don't.
because we're here.
We're the
and
guests.
We're the guests.
We're
we
double
don't
duty.
Get, we
Double
don't get
duty.
the last names.
This is the Indie Not podcast.
Indie Not podcast.
Haven't made it yet.
Haven't made it yet.
That's right.
That was
And
the intro.
then- there it is. So, if you haven't noticed today, we don't have a guest. We're the guests today, and we're going to tell you some podcast in review for season 3. This is our last episode,
Yeah.
and we had a good season.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
a good, right?
Yeah. It's like I don't disagree.
We're reflecting on our work of the last season, and we're going to throw some stats out there and then just kind of talk about what we liked and kind of the direction we want to go after that. And then we have a fun little thing at the end as well.
I guess this is more for us than for anyone
It
else.
is, yeah. But,
But
you know,
that's kind of been the whole premise.
I guess
Right.
this
It's
is
always for
all
us.
for us.
and our theme is kind of like, being transparent about the process of making something. So if you're also in the process of making something, this could be interesting for you. Just to start us off, last season we did 11 episodes, 12 including this one, which was, I think we did a way more episodes the season before that, but we wanted to kind of tighten up the quality. So we definitely did that. We covered mentorship, journalism, war journalism, networking, working at a network, working in food docs, improv comedy, casting, page programs, film festivals, and letterbox. Kind of
Super diverse.
very
Wow.
diverse.
All over the
Yeah.
all
Good for
over the
us.
spectrum.
Yeah. wide range there. Our stats were our stats are kind of split between Libsyn, which is the program that feeds all this podcast style apps, and then we also on YouTube, which we kind of built out this last season. So that's fun to see the growth there. Instagram and TikTok, those are kind of our main things. On Libsyn, this last year, which is pretty much this last season, we had 442 views on all of our audio only stuff. The highest one being with, I think this is Stevie 43, number 43.
Yeah, that's Stevie.
Stevie with 52 views. Very exciting.
Oh yeah.
YouTube, which we just started, like I said, 30K views
Whoa.
overall. Yeah.
There it is.
Which we mainly built out this last season. Before that, we weren't doing much on there. I mean, our episodes were on there, but they were just like 2 or 3 views. 65 subs. Our highest video being the music video that Hayden shot with his brother.
Oh, hey.
350 views there. And then for the podcast side, Erwin's podcast
Love
did,
it.
I think it was like 108 or something. That one was very well received. And then, yeah, so overall, over all our platforms, including the reels and the full episodes, most of our episodes did. Does anyone want to guess how many views?
I already saw
You
it.
already saw it.
Wait, how many views on YouTube?
Overall, how many views we got per episode of all the content that came out of each episode?
Like the average number
Average number.
views?
Yeah.
70s, 60s. Oh no.
This is good though. If you would have guessed too high, I would have been sad. So this is good. 3K. We got about 3K views. It's good setup. It's good setup.
They're making us feel really
Making
good.
us-
about
making
it.
us feel good. Which is good. I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Really low.
The
expectation.
60s.
So low. Okay. Slay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
I thought that was hard. I had no
I'm
idea.
glad.
I'm glad we're doing way better than we thought.
Oh my god, yeah.
But this is the first season where, I mean, first 2 seasons we did do a few video episodes and just setting up the camera and everything. But this is the first season where we did every single episode where we set up the camera and had it both on YouTube and on your podcast listening devices. And I think that really worked with getting more listens, was just having this little video aspect of getting to see our faces and getting to see our guest faces.
The
and,
reels definitely help. Yeah. And I feel like we finally found kind of our like a consistent style a little bit. Like previous seasons, we were constantly trying stuff mid-season. This time it felt like we kind of had like a format we were kind of adhering to, which is good, I think.
Well, this is the first. Well, one, this is I guess like my first full season I've been with y'all, and I feel like since then also as a trio we've really focused a lot about like meeting, and like prepping a lot more, and like having constant like more consistent discussions throughout the season to be like, okay, this is where we're at. What do we do? How do we improve? So I feel like that's been lovely too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps. I feel.
Yeah. So maybe we want to throw out some personal highlights of the last seasons, stuff that stood out, that worked, or that made you feel like this is a fun experience. Sounds really negative.
It's like just like knife to back, like compliment. What are you like working about?
No, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, how great the podcast is, but like something that stood out to you.
Yeah.
Well, what's standing out to me today, we didn't reference this, but we're all wearing the same shirt. I feel like we're sponsored by Lionsgate today.
I mean, I guess.
We haven't received our check in the mail yet, but we're just the Hunger Games shirts.
Yeah. Watch the Hunger Games.
Watch the Hunger Games.
We didn't work on it.
Is there a new one coming out?
I don't know. I guess.
Okay, well, watch the new one, watch the old one.
Watch them.
Watch all of them.
Watch the Hunger Games.
Lionsgate, give us money.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the way we're doing like a spec ad.
Yeah. Just trying it out.
My highlights are Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. Fun to drink, not to eat. But no, I would say, honestly, I don't know. I have 2. Can I say 2?
Yeah, go for it.
Say as many as you
but I
want.
want to steal anybody else's. I'll say
okay.
1, and then we can go around
Yeah.
and if it happens.
All right.
So my first one is Taste with Kevin. I loved that, one, we had a fan connect with us and share, hey, I have this really cool person. I'd love him to be on. And then we actually reached out, and Kevin was so nice to be on our podcast and share his story, and just that whole interaction. Like, that's how I want this podcast to be, of just like us meeting new people. And we would have never met Kevin if it wasn't for someone emailing us about him and sharing his story and saying he was an interesting guy. And that is so cool that we got to do that for this season.
Yeah.
Did
Did we do the trivia thing this season, or was that last?
It was the season.
trivia was this season?
I think that was my highlight, because the thesis of the whole thing being kind of like a film collective-y, networky thing where we're able to bring other people together and meet people ourselves. I thought that kind of was the first time I really felt like we had like a thing that people knew about, because we had this event where people came that had been on the podcast and or were somehow related to it via us.
Yeah.
And everybody that was there had like kind of heard about it, or like, hey, you're the guy from that, you're the guy from this. And it just kind of made me feel this like warm fuzzy, like, oh yeah, we are kind of a community, and I'm excited to do more of that. But that kind of made me feel like we're on the right track.
Yeah, for listeners, this trivia night was we set up this essentially like a house party with people that we've had on the podcast and friends of friends, where we hosted a trivia night here. We had a huge award that was Did we keep it as a surprise, or I think we showed
We
people.
did.
Yeah.
But also it's because we were figuring it out. until
We had an award for
before.
the winning team, and the award was a podcast mic, where they got
We're
to.
still waiting for the episode that
Still
the
waiting.
winner was supposed to record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was,
We're
that
supposed
was
to
the
start a
deal.
podcast.
That was the deal.
The
So we
winner
only
had
give
to
this
then
you.
start their own podcast.
Right.
So it's still happening, still in development. Under our
Good thing
Indie
you
Nuts,
took
of
time.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool. It was our first kind of we've had a lot of people on, and we've been legitimate, and we've been legally legitimate, like Indie Knot, and as a company. But that was the first time for me where it felt like we actually had people and they were supporting our organization, and this was like we put a face to the name on that night.
Yeah.
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 I guess my highlight is kind of similar in the sense that, like, I guess it's maybe not one particular moment, but it just really felt like this season was the first time, like that we actually had like a community, or like how many like people, I guess, acknowledged that we did it or doing this. And it's not just like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes like when I tell people about this, I still get a little like, well, everyone in LA has a podcast, and
Yeah.
now it's like one of those things. And so like when you're like introducing the idea that you have a podcast, I'm always like, haha.
Yeah.
But then I send the link out, and I'm like really proud of like the growth that we've had, and like I think that has kind of been like just being more confident about like the stuff that we have out there. I feel like we've really like tightened ship a lot with like of how we go about doing it, and really proud of the diversity that we have with our guests. And I feel like we really program purposefully. Like, I don't like, yes, it is kind of like us asking friends and friends of friends to be on it and stuff. But I really do think that like for what we could be pulling or doing, because we have like, you know, like not to be like, we have a lot of friends, but it's like we do have like access to a lot of different people from jobs that we work and things like that. And that takes time and curation on our part. And I'm very proud of the products that like of this podcast that we've come to be. And like for me, I think part of that also just made me realize that I don't know, even like I had a hometown friend from New Jersey come. Like that was like,
yeah.
I felt like that. So it felt like even in that sense, it's like building this universe out of community and like people that we speak to. Like Kat and I, like, you know, we always had like that shared interests, but I don't think this was like kind of like the first time that we really like talked about it in such like, I guess, formal way.
Yeah.
Besides like whatever, like a passive drink or whatever, like when we're home together. But it was just kind of fun to see our world build out a little bit more and like, I don't know, like stand like a little taller about it. That was really nice.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm always, kind of like, we have a little thing. Yeah.
But like 40 something
you're kinda-
episodes is
yeah,
not,
like-
they're like, how many episodes do you do? And we were like, oh, we have like 40,
Like,
45.
even if not that many people are watching it, 45 episodes is still like an achievement.
That's
Oh,
huge.
and then I say like what our guests do, and they're like, oh, you got an editor
Yeah,
from
like-
Letterboxd.
Yeah.
You know, an associate producer from MSNBC. And like, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, my
yeah.
friends are getting like there's some people that they actually follow. An example, Mia. I found out one of my Letterboxd friends like does read her reviews on Letterboxd, and when I posted on my social medias that she was a guest, he was like, "You got Mia," and that was the first time where he was actually impressed that I was in a podcast, and like. That was just fun. I was telling him like the other day that I met Bill Hader at an ice cream parlor, and it was just a very brief hello. But he was way more impressed that we had me on a podcast than me saying hello to Bill Hader. So I was like, okay, I'm doing things.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I had drinks with like this girl that just graduated from like the same school that I did, and I like was telling her about it, and she was like, "Hey, what is that? Like, actually, what's your podcast like name? Like, I want to like listen." And I was like, "Oh my god!" people were following up. I want to hear it. Which I guess is like all to say is that I don't mean to be like, I've always been proud of it. I've always been like, from the minute like I was asked to be on it. Don't get me wrong. But it's also like you have that kind of like, you know, again, it's like, I know that I'm not unique, or we are not unique in the sense that a lot of people try to do this in LA. So I'm trying to be like, bring that context into it, I guess. And I don't know. It just feels nice. I was just like, after looking back on it, I'm like, oh, you can't scoff at numbers. So like that we're doing it, and we're doing it to be creative. So that also feels good.
Which is apparently 70 for Sam.
Yeah. I just didn't. No, I said that about the views. I didn't realize. I didn't realize the outreach like that. And I, again, proud.
It is something. Last 2 seasons with just quality alone, I'm such a stickler with how I want things to look and sound. And I was kind of reluctant on like what episodes I would send to somebody if they're interested in listening to the podcast. Like, oh, what should we listen? But I feel like this season, like I would be I'd comfortably send every single episode.
Yeah.
Any
That's a good
episode
point.
to
I didn't feel
a
that way in the
person.
past.
No, I was like, yeah, we have a podcast, but don't
We
listen
love
to this
every
one or
guest
that
that we've
one.
ever had.
No, like, you know.
No, we love the guests. It's just
more on
us
like our
and
end.
Yeah,
producing.
yeah.
It's like this time I felt like every one of them represents our like quality and execution pretty much equally. Well, before there was definite highlights.
Yeah. It definitely skipped that episode because we had like a truck in the background.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
like half the episode. Truck noise.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Another thing could be us being the hosts and working in film as well. Kind of fun to do our own time capsule, like we always have our guests do, where we kind of talk about what we have going on, highlights, lowlights, something in between. Just so that we can look back at this when we inevitably send everybody in 10 years their little time capsules. We have something for ourselves as well. And this could be, you know, I was thinking it could be something quite personal too, but mainly like career and film stuff. I suppose I'll start us off. We used to do these in film club when I did the film club, and we used to call them happies, crappies, and noogies.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Like in our like officer meeting.
See, I used to do these on trips and stuff with friends. It's like rose thorn,
Yeah.
and like something, or like wow pow chow.
I've
Like
heard of that.
Colin, my
Wow,
old
pow.
roommate, he literally like would do wow. So it's like the highlight, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Pow, she's like, like
Oof, like
that was a
gut
tough
punch.
one. And chow is like the best thing you ate.
Oh god.
The best thing you hate.
No, you
This thing
ate. The rest, so that's chow.
I don't think
so
that's
not,
a noogie.
So not quite the noogie.
Not a noogie.
I don't know why it's noogie, good and bad.
I like
But
noogie.
what is-
it's like
wait,
a
so-
noogie.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah,
so
yeah.
what is it again? What are the
It's
three?
like not particularly good or bad, but it's like a noteworthy thing.
I think that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's instead of noogie, it's chow. What did you eat that you
You,
love?
you can do a chow if you
No,
want.
I don't really.
Okay. All right, I'll start with mine. I think my happy was for a long time I was kind of figuring out which direction I want to do. I want to know in my career, I do know that I want to do like writing and directing. But like that's obviously a very long-term thing with a lot of, you know, day job in between that, and I was kind of unsure what I want that day job to be and how I want that to look like. And I felt like in this last year, I've kind of solidified that I do want that to be the art department. And I feel like I've made some progress there, and I feel, you know, happy with that choice. And I feel like I've kind of honed that in, which feels really good. So that would be my happy. My noogie is, I was able to help somebody out that went to my college, or at least Danielle, one of the guests, had somebody reach out to her for advice about getting in the art department. And by chance, she reached out right before I was doing production design for a short, and I was able to get her to be on that and help out. And she was like, she told me, while I was kind of like prepping her for the job and kind of talking about it, we went to some rental houses to get some stuff. And she like sent me an email and was like, yeah, thank you so much for helping me. And I feel like you've been like the most honest and and like straightforward about what the job entails and like what a career would look like, because I kind of gave her like my thoughts on that. And it's like, wow, what are other people telling her? Like, what lies is she hearing? Like, that's kind of
And
rough.
you linked her to the podcast.
And of course, link to the podcast, because most of the stuff that she was asking me about, because I kind of opened it up, was like, hey, I'm also obviously just starting out, but like, if you have any questions, most of the questions she had, we had answered on the podcast, which was cool. And then I was like, like, I, not to be corny here, but like, if you want to have more of these kind of questions,
Check out this
like
episode.
we've recorded the answers, so I'm happy to give them to you in person too. But like, here's a whole podcast that's literally all about that.
For only $10.99 a month. No,
Still free.
still free.
But yeah, so that was, that was interesting. And yeah, it always feels kind of weird to be like somebody giving somebody advice
Yeah.
at any point, and it's hard to like, feel like that's ever justified, because insecurity, blah blah blah. But yeah, it was cool to be able to have like a platform that's kind of, that I was able to point her towards. I don't know, that was interesting. My crappy, there was a long window with no work, because obviously the strike and everything, and a lot of uncertainty still going on there. So that was tough in the last year. Yeah, that's not very specific, but that was rough.
Well, that's good that you didn't have like a super hard moment. I
Yeah,
guess
there-
like one, like, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that sucks. The strike sucks for sure.
Yeah,
No work sucks, but
yeah.
I feel like
Made
that's
the
good,
best out
though.
of it,
Yeah.
yeah.
You built stuff for your short. You did short stuff.
Yeah. We did shorts instead, and this, and that's kind of what you got to do, I think,
Yeah.
because those lulls will always happen.
Yeah. It's similar to mine. I'll start with the crappy of just no work. It was something that, like, last year we knew there was no work because the strikes and everything, and we're like, okay, we'll just hold through this. And for whatever in my mind, I thought that, like, this is the year when I don't think I've been to LA yet, where it's been like Hollywood's been booming, and I'm waiting to kind of feel that energy. And I thought it was going to be this year, and just I was kind of, there was still just not really anything. And I only just recently, maybe, I think the first gig I did this year was like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, which is just crazy how that was like maybe early July, being my first gig of working. But I'm telling myself what I told myself last year, that this next year is going to be good and everything's going to be fine. But so that's crappy. And happy, in similar response to that, I was able, I shoved, like, I locked myself in my room and just worked on perfecting the script that I was doing. And I also did a storyboard and a shot list, and was in the process of trying to get a gang together until I finally got work. And I had to kind of push it on the back end, but I was developing a couple scripts, outside of this other one. So like 3 total, as well as, making a music video for my brother. And like, there was a lot more personal creativity that was going, that I really didn't do much of. We did a few shorts in the last couple years, and they were good, but they were very much like comedy skits. And I think like this was my first time where I'm like actually trying to push to my professional side. And like there's a documentary I'm developing too. So like, if I was working nonstop, I wouldn't have had that time to develop all these things that I'm excited to make in the future. So that's the happy. And the noogie, I would say this year is my first time, like noogie.
Noogie.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, it's a good word.
Yeah.
Hold for noogie. But Noogie, I would say, is this is my first year where I started with health insurance, and like I went like 6-7 years without paying for health insurance, and I just didn't have enough money with the amount of money I was making for starting off this career to feel like I was able to afford this and also live the life I was wanting to live. But this was the first year that from beginning to hopefully end, I have to end the year first, that I've managed, even without work, to pay off all these kind of adultly duties that I've been pushing off for so much because I feel like I couldn't afford it. So it was nice to be able to do all these things and go to the dentist for the first time in forever and finally have like nice teeth, which I should have done a while ago. But it's like, I mean, I just told myself I couldn't. But I'm glad that I now tell myself that I can, and I can also do the career I want to do. So yeah, it's a noogie. Yeah.
Was the maintenance worth it? Were your teeth good?
So good. Spent like 2.5K on some things. I had some pretty messed up crowns.
Oh.
But now they're all fixed.
Wow.
And it was something I was talking to our
$1,000 smile.
I was talking to my roommate, our other roommate, Carissa, and I forgot how we got into the conversation, but I was like, you're using your left side of your mouth all the time. I was like, yeah, I can't bite with my right side of my mouth. And she was like, what? And she's like, yeah, I have this tooth that I like it just hurts every time I bite on it. And she's like, and you haven't gone to the dentist? I was like, no, I mean, that's why I have my left side. I literally, yeah, I just always bite on my left side now. That's how I live. And that was a year ago, Hayden. So I'm glad that
can you bite on your right now?
Oh yeah.
Oh, happy to report you can now bite.
I can now.
He's
bite.
back, baby. He's chewing at
chewing.
twice the rate.
I'm a double biter. I go both ways in my
He
biting.
eats way faster. I've seen it. He's done it half the time.
Yeah. So I'm just glad that like I can bite with both sides of my mouth. Yeah, that's so great. That's my noogie.
That should be your happy.
That should have been your happy. Forget
guess
the
you have to
career
pay for
growth. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, my crappy, just to start off, was at the time that my old company was being bought by Lionsgate. I guess, like, so yeah.
Okay.
I was just like, there's just a lot of uncertainty. I felt like at the time, like nothing was being really like clear, and it's to the like, I don't blame anyone for it. It's just like that's what happens when another company merges and buys a different company. Like, and I just happened to be part of the bought company, so it's like they're trying to figure it out as much as like we want, like I meaning like want answers. So, but it was just a very like going into the new year not knowing if I had still a job, because especially like at the time when I joined that like E1, so like the old company, was that I like literally first day was May 1st, strike hits May 2nd or something like that. Or it was like April 30th, something like that. Or it was just like day one, fine, next day, strike. And so it just kind of like felt like, although I did have like a great experience, met a lot of great people, and I don't regret it for any sense of like that, it just felt kind of like I left a job with like health insurance and things like that, and I was turning, so in the same vein, health insurance, like turning 27, like I was kind of like, turning 26, I guess, but like I was like, am I gonna have a job? Like, I don't know, and like wasn't kind of expecting to have to be on the market so quickly after like solidifying a job that I was really proud of and confident about. And then so that was, I guess, the crappy, but like it worked out though. I still have a job, so it wasn't really that crappy, but it was just like I just remember feeling like stressed about like all of that, which like brought everything in context and makes me super grateful for the opportunities that I have now. But I just remember being like really stressed about being like, okay, like what's happening? The Then I'll start with my, what was I gonna say? My niggy.
Easy.
My niggy. I haven't heard the word noogie in a hot minute. I think it just evokes like
You gotta acclimate.
I just like, evokes like I just think of it and I'm like I think of Nickelodeon's noggin, which is not anyways, I'm getting on a tangent. Anyway. I guess like nothing like what's good. Like that's just a neutral thing that just happened.
Something
Neutral,
interesting, noteworthy.
I think it's the fact that this year for me personally, when I turned 27 in February, I was like, I guess I cursed on this podcast before.
Go for it.
This is like my year of cunt. Like I just,
Oh wow!
Not what I was expecting.
I didn't know we were UK cursing.
okay, we can bleep that out.
Break down what that means.
I just meant like when I feel like I'm always a pop girly first and foremost. This is coming from like stand up and like fandom. It's just like when I see like a person I admire, it doesn't matter what gender. I'm like, that is like I use it in that kind of phrasing, just being like they don't give a fuck about what's going on. Like they're just like they have an agenda. They're gonna execute this agenda. They're just the diva doll. They are head supreme queen. Like very much like that. Like evoke this sense of like confidence and like I don't know, like almost like not happy go that's not a good way of putting it, but just like a sense of freedom, like a sense of like less overthinking. And I think that in like the last few, like you guys know me personally, so it's just like obviously the last few years been very difficult for me on a personal end, just like different stuff that's been going on. Mm-hmm. So when I turned 27, and I've been trying to like work on that a lot, like just being like stop existing and start living. That was kind of like a motto I was trying to live by and telling myself for the last 2 years. And I just like didn't like as much as I told myself that I like never actually like did it. I felt like I tried, but it didn't feel genuine. So I don't know. Something about turning 27, I was literally like, this is the year. This is the year. I serve only cunt. I don't care. I'm only just gonna. And part of that for me is reclaiming the fact that I think I am an extrovert. I like that to come to terms with that too. Where I was like, no, I'm like ambivert. No, it was depression. That was just called depression. Like I actually love talking to people, and I think I missed that part of me of like feeling free and like not thinking about like all the social anxieties that come with that. And I think the podcast helped me with that, because I like part of the process of like being, I guess, organized within like Indianaut is that I have to do like pre-interviews, because that's like my role here. It's like so, and the fact that a lot of the people that I have to just kind of like cold call, like, yes, you lobby it up. Like if it's a person I don't know, usually like Yannick or Hayden, like tee them up via text message or something. But I have to call them to like discuss things with them. And like, yes, I roll calls for my bosses, but it's also with that, it just always feels like, well, I have an agenda with like, and that's behind my boss. Versus like, no, I'm asking you to do something. Like, yes, you guys teed them up, but I'm the one asking you to do all these things. I'm giving you the spiel. I'm supposed to be the authority figure of like what this discussion is. And like, and I didn't want to do that. Like, not like do that, but I just don't think that like I was shy about it. Just like talking to new people. Like I think that was very intimidating for me. And the more I did it, the more I was like, oh no, I have a cadence. Like I know what I want to say, but I remember even like doing it for Haley, who I know and I'm friends with. I just remember being a little anxious before the call, because I was kind of like, I have to like stand, like also it's like standing up for like a thing that I want to do and believe in, asking them to do something creatively for me. That's one anxiety thing, but just also just talking to somebody about like that, and like again leading the conversation in that way. And I feel like because of that, it gave me a sense of, or like partially some of that, and also the mindset of this is the year of cunt, like get your shit together. Like
you cunt called her,
yeah,
if you will.
yeah, it's the cunt coven. Just God. The meeting of the minds. I just feel like my like big happiness is, and I do think I credit some of this to the podcast for sure, is that like my confidence in just talking to people and like and that has also stemmed into like networking and like, you know, going out there and just telling people about the podcast, telling people about like what I do professionally, like being a little bit more proud about stuff. And that was like a huge goal of mine for the last like X amount of years. So the fact that I genuinely feel like I'm doing that this year, and it's a personal and professional thing, I feel like I'm very proud of myself. And that's something I'm like thrilled that I feel like not afraid to do anymore. Like I still get, everyone gets anxious sometimes and I still do, but it's just like generally though, when I'm around like a networking event, I'm not afraid to be like, hi, what do you do kind of thing. Like more so, I still like, you know, it's a spectrum, but like, I just feel like ever before, I feel very like more self-assured.
That's really
and
nice.
confident.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I would have never guessed that was like a hurdle for you, because you just kind of like launched into it and did it, you know?
Yeah.
That's
I think,
nice.
but I think it's just because of, like that.
Well, yeah,
again,
you
the mentality of just being like, well, I mean, I would have done
rose
it
up to it.
regardless, but I would have
Right.
definitely been more like,
Yeah.
these people each week.
I have to talk to Yannick and Hayden again.
No, it's like not less. It's like once I'm comfortable with people, like that's, you know, it's just new. But like, it's just the new people.
Yeah.
Like also people that I admire and I want them to like me. Like we talk to people with really cool jobs and like do really amazing things that I wish that I was maybe sometimes doing or admire. And they're maybe like in my brain, like cataloged a little further down in the career than I am.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that would have intimidated me before. Like I would have been so scared to sound like an idiot. And now like, I'm just like, whatever. Like you could just meet me in person. Just like, this won't matter. Like, which is like, ultimately like every interaction shouldn't, like it should matter, but I guess the overthinking of it and like putting the importance of that, putting like all this importance onto that when it could just be like, maybe like a little less.
Yeah.
Like instead of all the eggs, maybe just like 4. Take them out. So that was my big happy. And then, that was my noogie. Or is it my happy?
I think it was your noogie.
I changed it. That's my happy.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a good happy.
That's my
I don't blame
happy.
you.
I think I like started with the gaming, like networking, and I was like, no, actually, that's a big one. Happiness. That's a happy. Okay, what's something that happened that was cool that happened to me? That was significant. I guess like less so happy. I do think I've narrowed down. I like to you, similar to you guys, maybe less so happy because I kind of knew that this is what I wanted to do, but like figuring down almost like a game plan of life, like what to do next in my career. I think that's probably more. I've always been like a person that kind of knew what I wanted to do always. Like I don't think I've ever minced my words on like what path I was going down, but I think narrowing that down of like how to pivot next, because I've been an assistant for like a hot minute now, and I think that like the next step obviously is always hope for promotion or whatever, or like growth in some sort of way. But I feel like this year I really tuned in on like what I actually want to do, like what is the next step. And I also feel like proud that I also can be more picky about it. Like I stand behind my resume a little bit more and can like as I'm trying to find a different job or stay, like, I don't know, like that's the part of it too, is like, I don't know, but it's just like, I just know that not necessarily I'm in a rush always just because I think that's just how I cope with things. But my noogie is the fact that I feel like I'm getting closer to the Adam Sandler lifestyle that I want, or at least having a more clear
Happening.
path.
Yeah.
I've weed whacked a little bit more down the road
Yeah.
than I was before.
I think it's interesting that you say that like 27, you kind of got into this fuck it
Yeah.
era. Because I feel kind of the same way. Like it felt like the pressure of, I'm 28 now. But it felt like the pressure of 30 you kind of face earlier as you see yourself approaching 30. I don't think when I'm going to turn 30, I'm going to be over it. Like I'm 30 now, I don't care. But like the fact that you're going to be 30 in 3 years hits you then, not when you're actually there. So I feel like I kind of entered the same, like first it was like, oh my God, everything's crazy. This is bad, or whatever those feelings are. 27, 28 is kind of where I'm feeling like I'm getting through that.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I also feel like 30s, it's like, I'm trying to tell myself this, and I do feel this. Oh, it's going to be so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, it's-
That's what they say, you're settled in there. So
Yeah.
And that comes a little earlier than I think I was at least expecting it to be,
yeah, for sure.
like right now.
Yeah. Haven't made it yet.
Haven't made it yet.
Basically, almost to making it.
But
Not 30 yet.
Not 30
being
yet.
being okay with not having made it yet.
Yeah, that too. I think
That's
it's
a
just,
big
but
part
now
of it.
it's like fun. I want to enjoy the
Yeah.
ride, not like I want to enjoy the journey, not just the destination, hopefully, of one day.
Yeah.
I think that was part of it too, was that I was not enjoying the journey and being stressed all the time because I was like, I need money, I need a job, I need people to like me so I can be in this
Yeah.
industry forever.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Cool. Well, that was very informative. I feel like I learned some things about Sam. I guess relevant to the listener, if you want to, kind of some of the things that we've talked about that are going to be coming up. Hayden, you're continuing to work on your short, tuning in. Any updates on when we're going to get that started or anything?
Yeah, I actually just talked about it yesterday. And I think I'm gonna like tune it down a little bit with just budget wise and just making it like I'm just in the phase where I just want to make it happen, and like this year, which I think is why I stopped. I think I just stopped because I was scared of like kind of looking at the numbers of what I wanted, and I just wasn't able to make that money, nor did I think that I could raise that money. So I want to definitely do it this next year, and now it means trying to think of ways to make it as cheap as possible, but fun and engaging, and make it the best it can be, but in a budget that I can do. So yeah, I want to do it next year.
Next year? Cool.
The documentary kind of has been on my mind.
Yeah.
I've been working on.
And do you want to give just a brief thing on that?
Yeah,
or-
I've been working on like a 10 episode series on nature doc, how climate change is affecting animal migrations in all around the world. So focusing from monarch butterflies to elephants in Africa, and how animals are moving and adapting the land in the process due to the changing of temperatures. So it's been something that's my end goal future, is to make nature docs and make documentaries. So I was like, why am I waiting that for the end goal? I should just be doing that now. And there's so many grants for that Yannick kind of introduced me to with nature docs and making like educational media. So I'm looking into applying for those grants, and I already have most of the research made. Now it's just kind of
been reading like 2 books a month on it. I've seen you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and now I'm doing like scientific journals online, just to get, now that I have the focus. The books were all for finding the animals I wanted to talk about, but now that I know the animals, it's all about the nitty gritty focuses of what I want to talk about with the animals.
Shay has a bunch of like scientists kind of in that space too, which we could reach out. So
Whoa, that's so cool.
yeah.
Like, you guys have just like, wow, I didn't realize that you guys are so like, in the,
This is
in
what
the
happens when you don't
science.
work.
Okay, well, in the science, like,
Well, you know, and
okay.
it's early stages, but I feel like this is something that there might also be a fundraiser for, because this is quite, relatable to a lot of people, the environment,
Yeah.
etc. So look out for maybe like something like that, more information on that. That's obviously a long-term big project, but I'm seeing this as potentially a pilot or something we could shoot.
Yeah.
So there might be something there. The short film that we shot, Tendon, the horror one we'd mentioned a couple times, should be finishing up today.
Ooh.
The final
today?
this final sound mix kind of happening today. So next couple weeks or next week, it'll be the sound mix and the color will all come together, and that's probably going to be a festival release. There eventually it'll be a YouTube release for sure, so that it'll eventually live on our YouTube. So if you're listening and want to check that out, that'll be out maybe in like 3 months to half a year or something. You'll be able to watch it somewhere, if not at the festivals.
DM us if you want to.
Oh yeah, if you want.
a
you wanna-
password.
Oh
Yeah,
my
if you
God,
want
a
the direct
link?
link, I
Oh
think
my
that's
God.
that's a cool. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you want to check it out. And we'll post a trailer and some BTS for that as well. Hayden and I and Dakota and myself and a bunch of other people, we did a climbing documentary which we filmed last weekend, and that'll definitely be on available to view, or definitely clips of it if we're not going the festival route. And if you want to see that directly, you can also DM us on that. But that we should finish editing that in about 2 months, so that'll be coming out, which is exciting. Getting kind of into the outdoor space. We have some potential sponsors for that we're trying to get going for like a bigger project in the future there as well. That's exciting documentary stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are kind of the bigger projects we got going on. Sam, do you got anything?
My personal project is that I want to write a short at one point.
There you go.
I don't know what. I just think it's like a fun exercise.
Yeah.
I have no, again, like my biggest thing is like I'm bad at writing dialogue. I feel like I can write a short story. I don't know if you guys know that. I was like, I TA'd for like fiction writing. Like
Oh, nice.
instead of, I feel like I was very close to minoring in writing and I just never did it. And so I was like, kind of missed that. But that is a goal of mine, not to maybe make into anything. Well, we'll see. Actually, no, I don't. Well, yeah,
Well,
let's
if you-
manifest that.
If you give it to
Part
us,
of the year
it's
of
gonna
Pun
be
is
made.
manifesting it,
Yeah.
and then if it's shit, then we never have to do anything with it. But I think I just want to prove to myself that, like, after not writing, that I can do something like this again. So that's my project.
No,
to
that's great.
myself. Yeah.
Cool. I think for our final thing, we could go into. We just came up with this, but like a couple of stories and instances of different guests interacting, or us being able to connect a couple of guests and them working together, or us running into them in interesting ways, just to kind of go along with the overall thesis of this.
This is
the
our
community.
proof of concept that the podcast works.
Yeah, testimonials.
Testimonials.
Oh, that's so nice.
Hayden, you want to start with that?
Yeah. So one of our friends, Ellie, avid listener. I don't know. I don't know if she's
slay.
listening to it, but none of our friends actually.
That's part of the
listen to
3K.
But I was on a gig with her, and she was sharing how she just got an interview set up for Paramount to be a Paramount page. And I was like, oh, and I just subtly brought up the podcast that we had a Paramount page on, and he talks about it in our podcast, and I should connect you. And she was like, that would be great. So I connected her and Stevie together, and Stevie helped her with the process of what she should be looking for in the interview process, of like what she should get prepared. And that interview, I think, is next week. So we'll see what
That actually
happens.
helps a lot to have like somebody
wow.
who's in the job give you pretty much
Yeah.
the answers for what they're
And
probably
he was,
looking
yeah,
for.
he
That's
was in the
great.
job for about 2-3 years
Yeah,
or so.
for a
He was in it for a
while.
while. So he's very well versed in what Paramount is all about, which is great. And then even more so, we know that Stevie wants to be like kind of a curator of film festivals. And so I was talking about that with Ellie, and she was like, oh, I have this friend in New York who does like gay film / Andy Warhol film festivals in New York. And I was like, that's so crazy in our podcast, which I was like, I'm sorry that I keep on talking about the
People are
podcast.
like, oh my god.
Like, I should just stop
like, oh,
saying that. I
God.
should just say I talked to this one guy. But listen to the podcast.
Listen to the podcast. 10 toes down for the podcast.
But I was saying that was like Stevie curates his own monthly films, and one of the things he talks about is how he curated for Pride Month the whole
Erotica.
pre-AIDS gay porn in and,
Pornographic or like
Yeah.
erotic.
yeah,
just
like art
movies.
films.
Yeah.
And she was like, "That's crazy. That's literally what my friend does in New York." So like it just kept on kind of going into connections. So that wouldn't have happened if the
fun.
podcast didn't
Yeah.
happen. Just saying.
I got one. I was at Grayson's wedding yesterday, who was one of our guests, talking about casting directing.
Congratulations, Grayson.
Congratulations,
Congrats.
Grayson. But through that and kind of being there, I talked to Haley a little bit more, who was also on the podcast, and she's making a feature film and looking for art department. And I was able to link up Chloe from one of our episodes, and a good friend of mine, with her, and hopefully she'll be able to work with them. I mean, time will tell if that's a fit or not. But in that process, Haley was kind of like, yeah, like what's the vibe? We're looking kind of for a specific a person, and I was like, oh, you want a little vibe check? Here's an hour and a half of a vibe check, and I sent her the podcast, and she's like, oh, great, and listen to the whole thing just to kind of get an idea. And I think they would work great together, but we'll see what happens there. But it was just kind of cool to be able to be like, yeah, I have a person and an audio resume, so that was cool. And then also Peter, who was on the podcast as well, doing the war journalism, he's worked with Tomer, the documentarian, multiple times in Las Vegas, because Peter's Las Vegas based and Tomer has had a couple gigs there. And now they're just working together, so that's cool.
Wow, that's so nice.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll get some more for next review.
Yeah. Well, I guess Erwin is someone that I work with on the daily for work and stuff. And ever since then, I feel like it's more so the my work network hearing more about the podcast has been really
Which is
lovely.
great.
Yeah. Has been really lovely. So, and Erwin is on paternity leave because he had his second baby.
Yay.
And did not just having
And we
a
did that.
baby.
Yeah.
And we take
You
credit
did that?
for
We
that.
Credit for that too.
Yeah, no. So that was kind of nice. It's just to actually meld worlds a little bit in that way.
I think that's pretty much what I had on the agenda.
I feel like we did
kinda
good.
interesting.
This
Yeah.
was great.
I had
I
fun.
feel okay. So I guess instead of 10 years, because I feel like we've all done that. Maybe we could do that in the future. Not now. Let's not do that now. But I do want to do one, I guess, where it's end of things we see for season 4. What are manifest? Yeah.
Oh, manifest?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's instead
I
of
like
us asking 10 years down the road for our guests, what do we see
For the podcast.
podcast?
Yeah,
and then maybe
that's
we can
good.
look back and we can be oh yes, we didn't do that. Or, oh yes,
Yeah,
we did
Wait,
do
for
that.
how much time? How much time?
Until the end of the podcast. What do we wish for
What do
the
we want?
to accomplish with
Oh, okay.
4?
I think for me, it's listener engagement. I want to start doing kind of social posts, doing the Instagram polls or something or whatever on maybe it's who should be our next guest, these people, or write in the comments, we have this filmmaker coming in 2 weeks, which we've gotten to the point now where we do plan these 3 weeks to a month in advance. So we have enough time where, hey, this person's getting on, they do set design. What are some questions about set design that we can ask in the podcast? And I feel like that would just be great to, one, it would be more questions we probably wouldn't come up with because we're only 3 people. And I love the kind of back and forth that this podcast has. So I'd love to keep that going.
Yeah. I think, engagement would be nice. I feel more in-person engagement would be good too. I think we in the next season, I guess I think the trivia helped a lot with that, and also put things in context for everything. Come here.
We're all just wearing the same shirt.
First of all, so big and also see-through.
Hey, it's but it was free.
Hell yeah.
Exclusive merch.
Has it been see-through this whole time?
Yeah.
For something.
Yeah. Everyone gets a Hunger Games t-shirt.
My shirt.
Of course.
This is our merch.
This
like
is
Hunger
our-
Games shirt.
Well, no, actually, the first episode of season 4, what I'm looking forward to is getting an Indie Not sticker going.
Oh, you know, we do. We
That's a
do
good
need
goal.
an indie knot.
Like
Oh,
Yeah.
a little bit of merch.
sticker.
I'm excited 'cause I
Or at
thought it
least a
was
sticker.
An Indie Not shirt.
Oh, no.
No, it's the
It
Hunger
was
Games.
the
It
Hunger
is.
Games. Well, it will be once we get a sticker.
We need at least a
Wait, a
sticker or a shirt.
logo. We're
I think
season
we just need
4
a logo.
Everyone,
That's very attainable.
Actually, our season 4 goal is a logo.
in the background, back it says, "Everyone hungers for something."
And that for us is
So
a
we
logo.
do that. Yeah, we
That's
do
just
indie knot.
terrible.
Hey.
No, it's
Oh,
great.
Hey.
It's beautiful, and please give us money, Lionsgate. I love it.
Well, they do, I guess, in some ways. And that my money
Not
goes
just
into the
under her paycheck. Yeah.
yeah, tea. But
Wait, I think these are really good things. I want to write these down.
No, we have them recorded in two separate ends.
No, but but I'm just saying, logo
logo,
is
big.
very attainable.
We need a
and we
logo.
definitely need one. A little
more more social events.
more social events. A sticker or a shirt. Something we
Sticker
can
shirt.
rep. A
Yeah.
sticker is so cheap. We
So
should have
easy, and we could put it like
But we need a logo.
We do need a
That's-
logo.
That's why we haven't done it.
we want to design our logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us a
Heads
DM
up.
us.
Yeah, and then we'll send you
A nice
slideshow.
sticker.
Oh well, yeah. Once that's made,
once you give us the logo, we'll make the stickers
yeah, you get a sticker
and send you your logo.
exactly. More diverse guests. I feel like we could branch out even more. Like
How?
I feel like
What do we do?
I feel like there's so many different parts of entertainment. Like I feel like we're film focused, I guess, to start, but like I feel like even with like having Damon and also having like Kat and like Peter, like that do more journalism, like I feel like we can
There's a lot more we can do.
With like even like Steve with the DGA,
Well, like editing, we haven't done editing.
we
Yeah,
haven't
we
done
haven't.
editing at all.
VFX,
Yeah,
sound design,
right? That too, and then also
production
just,
sound.
right, like
yeah.
just also like different areas of entertainment, like animation. We haven't
Yeah.
really like covered that
There's
too.
a lot more to go.
Yeah,
There's room to grow.
yeah, even like honestly, more of an influencer type too, like a
That could be
traditional
cool.
like
YouTube,
YouTube,
TikTok, yeah.
TikToker would be really cool. What it's
Yeah.
like to go viral would be like a fun topic to
Yeah.
cover. Because I feel like filmmaking now goes deeper, as we were saying before, is like
Yeah.
more than just going to the movies now or
Yeah.
even TV.
Yeah.
Like, how do we get more of that going? I would love to do that.
Yeah. I think it'd be really fun to do, maybe this is episode 100, but like a party that's everybody that was on the podcast gets the invitation. Maybe there's other people, maybe not. But like doing an event at like a bar or something. Maybe there's like a screening element or like a stand up. You know, we've talked about this, having musicians there or something. They're having like a fun in person thing that's like podcast people that have been here.
Also,
I think that's unique and cool.
yeah, part of me is like a film festival with like
I
all
was
of
also
our
thinking that.
people that like love to do that, like with Tendon, and then like yours, like whenever you want to do that, like I mean those two, the rock climbing doc could be in there
Anybody
too,
in the
and the
Anyone
zeitgeist.
wants to show something that has like
Yeah.
been on it, you know?
Yeah, or like a music video. Like Haley did a bunch of music videos. Maybe
Yeah.
she had something like if she wanted to just have a place to just
Something
have
like that could
friends
be
to be
cool.
like, I made this really cool thing.
Yeah.
Like I know Pinar's always working on stuff.
Yeah.
Season 2, shout out. Like,
Yeah.
like, and she just finished like wrapping up like a short. I'm like, that would be really nice if just like all of us came together and then we can make that into a social thing too.
yeah.
Half screening, half
be cool.
party somewhere.
I feel good about it.
I feel like it'd be really nice to get to the point where I love anytime somebody comments on something and like there's like a little bit of a discussion. I think we've only really had that once on
Yeah.
one of our things where it's more than somebody's like, yay, you know, but one time on TikTok there was people like discussing about what the reel was about, and that was really cool, and I would love to have more of that.
Oh, yeah.
More engagement. We'll get there.
I feel like we're doing good.
Yeah.
Also, like, I guess another goal maybe down the line is bringing in the educator aspect. Like us as a
Yeah.
production company also do a little bit more
that.
production stuff. Like I feel like you guys have been really good about being on set and just really instigating like that kind of work. And I kind of miss that after going corporate. I was like,
It's a drug.
I was like, It's been a while since I've been on
We'll get you
set.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like,
But does she want
what?
to?
What
Does she
potential?
truly want
Yeah,
to?
at what cost?
I was like, at what? But what role?
I think for a final thing, just to reiterate, if you have a guest idea or a guest request in a type of field that you want to hear interviewed, please reach out. You can reach us on our email, which is indienotfilms@gmail.com. You can DM us on any of the platforms we're on. We would love to hear your recommendations and just in general things you want to hear more of.
Do we do an outro or are we fading?
I feel like
what
this
are we
is good.
doing as we fade?
Wish us good luck in our little hiatus.
Yeah.
If you're in LA, hang out with us.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you
and
for
Thank
watching.
you. Yeah,
I'm
3K
excited and
Not-
listening.
If you're one of the 70,
If you're one of the
If you're
70
one of
people,
Sam's 70, the ones that she cares about, I care
say
about
that.
the other.
I
one of the
care
core
about all
70.
of them. I just
700
didn't
and-
realize.
To
I
be
was
fair,
bad at math.
it's about 70 that I think listen to all of the content all the way through. There's a lot of people that come in
Okay,
and
so I
out.
wasn't wrong. Is what you're
No,
telling
you're
me.
not wrong.
No, you're definitely wrong.
But this is like the reels added,
All right.
like which is like, yeah, I guess we can do that.
So we're both right. We're all right.
This was an Indie Not Films production, edited by Hayden Garrett, and music provided by Harrison Garrett. Do you want to leave feedback? Have an idea for our next guest? Email us, indienotfilms@gmail.com. Support us by leaving a review and rating us on anywhere you listen to podcasts.